I'd like to call the June 6, 2011 work session for the Franklin Board of Commissioners to order. Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Wilder?
Here.
Mr. Hedges?
Here.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
Mr. May?
Here.
Mayor Green?
Here. Okay, all present counted for. What's the deal with the cameras?
Oh, just because we've been saying, since the beginning of the year that we want to tape these things and post them online. So I figured I'd just go ahead and start doing it.
Okay. We'll be a TV star. That's what I heard. You don't little yelly, you don't little lady. Okay. All right. This first item on the agenda is, and by the way, welcome everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. It's citizen comments. So any citizen can come speak to the commission. We try to limit it to about 5 minutes. And if you identify yourself, and then go down to the end of the table there and make your comments. And you had your hand up first, and we got one over here, and maybe another one. 3. Okay. All right. Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Nelson, and I've talked to several commissioners in the last couple of days and the city manager about, and over the years I've talked to the work session before. Was keenly telling Fred Goins that we needed to put a new ordinance in that no deer or large animal would be killed except between 8 and 5 weekdays. Because we're ending up, they're not picking them up. It's a disgrace that we have downtown Frankfort deer lying in the median of the highway, close to very downtown, and it stays from Saturday until Wednesday. Now, I know that that is a state highway, but many of the responsibilities of the highway cleanup or other cleanups go to the city once they're in the limits. It's kind of a trade-off. The lights, for example, we take care of the street lights and things like that. But there's absolutely no excuse for this time of year and that heat. Whoever can pick it up on a weekday would sure, I'm positive, much prefer to pick it up on Saturday, shortly after it had been killed, than 4 days later in 90-degree temperature. And it's not that expensive to have it done, even if we have to pay overtime. I'm sure we have people that are on call for the street department, for if a tree goes down in the middle of a street, to go pick it up. If a deer goes down, we can pick those things up too. I'm not talking about a squirrel or a little animal like that, or domestic animals should also be picked up. But there's no reason why something like that could not be done. Once it's called into dispatch, and it was done on Saturday, not only by me, but by some police cruisers that I have received downtown. But this is ridiculous. When Expo was going on, or the carnival going on, it's only a quarter mile from the flower bed. It's so nice in the middle of Wilkerson. If it had been in the middle of that, we would have left it there all weekend. I doubt it. But it's not that big of an expense, and we have the money. If we can paint police cars black and white for some reason or another, I'm not sure, or do other things, we don't need to spare a nickel by not picking up those animals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody want to comment? City manager.
Ms. Nelson reported it to me early Monday morning, and I gave it to Public Works as quickly as I could, and found it was on a state highway rather than city. And I think, didn't you all contact the state and got them to do it as quickly as they responded? I didn't know it was Wednesday, but we did our part, I think.
Okay.
As far as protocol, did we follow the right protocol? Or?
Well, on weekends and nights, we do have in our Public Works Department, our street department, they're on call 24/7, and those are generally for emergencies. When we have a storm, a snowstorm, or a windstorm, when there's trees down within the right-of-way where a car may hit it. So we get called out at night when it's a safety issue. And so I guess what Ms. Nelson's talking about specifically is a dead deer on the weekend or at night has not generally been a safety issue where we do a call out. So I guess the discussion is, do we want to change our protocol to come out for that specific reason? Because it's generally been, if it's a safety issue, we'll get called out by dispatch.
Well, Ms. Nelson, thank you for that. I'm sure we could discuss it a little later, maybe talk about it, if we do anything that they want to be called out. Okay, the next person. Okay,
I'm Bill Cole. Is it okay to sit down and do it, or would y'all rather me stand up?
it's okay, what do you want to do?
I'd rather do that. President Save the Grand Theater, I had talked with and met with most of you all on the commission at an earlier time about our request in the nonprofit category to adjust from the monies in the past, or last year y'all gave us a $5,000 to $10,000. And I was asleep at the wheel, and the commission meeting that I should have attended, I did not. Whether it made any difference or whether this does, I did want to just to briefly tell all of you all together, kind of what our story is and why we did that. Understanding that money is a short, comparatively short supply perhaps in the past. At the Grand Theater, in the first 20 months we have been in operation, we've had over 24,000 people either mostly buy tickets or come to events in the theater. It's been wildly successful compared to what I would have thought, even though I believe there was a desire to have the theater. We think that activity's anchored some of the more recent downtown development that's occurred, contributing to the net increase of new restaurants in the downtown, contributed to the restoration of what, at least in part, of the McClure building that has been successful, and we believe other things. We have had as a major purpose of the theater education for our kids. We've had over 2,000 people attend in the last season school shows. We bring professional theater, dance, and all kinds of events in. We have workshops for students, things that the schools have been unable to continue in many cases, going to other communities where these things exist. We have provided where, if you were a parent who had money and had the desire, sure, you could take your kids to Lexington and Louisville or wherever. We've been doing it. We've even had Anderson County schools come to the shows in the theater that we've had, drawing more people into our community. We, for a very small investment, we think, are a major tourism generator. We had over 1,000 people last year buy tickets from other communities. We have proof of that. We have a software system compared to the money that you all provide to DFI or tourism, which I support. I don't mean anything to the contrary of that, but I think we're a very modest investment. Quality of life for the community organizations like Frankfort Regional Medical, the Stewart Home School, Herod, Concrete, and others are our sponsors. Obviously, for recruiting new people in the community, the kind of arts and entertainment you have is important. We started the summer film series this summer so that in non-summer concert weeks we would have activities in the theater to continue to create a pattern we believe is growing of people coming to the downtown. We brought live streaming of the opera, classical music. We're going to have the drum corps international competition. For y'all, I love the movie Drumline. I don't know about you all, but we're going to have that in a couple of weeks in the theater. We bring diverse activities in a community. That's what I started out in economic development a long time ago. Can't say I'm anything but rough on it, at least from a standpoint of working in it, but those are the kinds of things that make a community attractive for a business to come in, and we believe we're doing that. That's been my personal commitment for the last almost 10 years based on that. 90% of the money to support the Grand Theater comes from the contributions of people in the community, either donations or the purchase of tickets. We do need some staff support. We're trying to build the budget, and our request to you is based on that. That lets us at least have a part-time, possibly one full-time person in the theater next year. We believe that the investment in the grant is a better return for you all on your investment, frankly, than things that you all are doing. And again, I support the Capital City Museum, I support the amphitheater, I support the Good Shepherd Church, all those things. But as far as an investment that the city receives a return on, I would argue without any evidence that we are a tremendous part. 90% of the money supporting the grant. Where in many communities like Lexington, where the city owns and operates the performing arts centers that they have, the Center for the Arts, huge appropriation from state, Glasgow, their theater, many others. But I know things are at issue, but we believe comparing us to some of the others, I guess you all maybe didn't want to do that, and you line item approved, everyone being the same thing. And we think we should be considered differently. I can't answer how you do that. I do think there are people that if we receive their money, it would be a better investment, or if any money lapses or is not used, we are a better investment. But thank you for your time. And if you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know you do. Good for us to understand that. Thank you very much. Okay, the next person.
My name is Dennis Kroll with Kroll Insurance, and I spoke a few meetings ago about consulting with you on improving your employee benefit plan, i.e. cost, benefits, and things like that. And I'm here today to reiterate that because your plan is coming up, I think, July 1st. And what my game plan is to have my expertise build and take out some of the fluff in the plan that is not necessary. A lot of the double dipping that is in there that can be equated to cost expense to the city. I'm not contemplating changing the current carrier at this time because there's not enough time to do that, but they do have the time to implement some of the things that I think should be done, and the cost to the city or the expense to the city of what you're doing now, if you do nothing, it's about a $400,000 increase from what I heard at these meetings. Jessamine County used a consultant, and they not only saved the increase, they also saved another 5.6% from their current this year premiums. So my thought process is I've looked at the plan, there's a lot of waste in the plan, there's a lot of double dipping in the plan, and to get some of that straightened out, and as a consultant, which I've been for since 1986, to help you in rebuilding your plan over the next 3 or 4 years. Of course, there'd be a cost for my services, and those would be negotiated, but to have you consider doing that, because the cost effectiveness would be a best worst risk, there'd be a tremendous benefit in savings, and the equality of the effect would more than cover the cost of the containment and the reduction in cost to the city. And I know your budget's tight, but another $400,000 increase is going to be tough.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? One of the things I talked to all the council, and one of the things as well, it's kind of close, can we put it off, but they discussed it last year in January, and they said we'll put it off till next time. And it's been put off till next time, put off till next time, and we're about to get put off. So I think it's time to, if you don't do something, it's going to cost you a tremendous amount of money.
We're pretty far along in the process right now.
As Mr. Kroll referred to, it's too late to change anything for this term.
Well, we wouldn't change the carrier, but we could change a lot of things in the program that are way out of line. One of the things I'll just bring up is you allow folks to come on your program if their current employer doesn't pay 100% of their insurance costs. Well, most companies are not paying 100% of the insurance costs, so you could be getting some adverse selection of people coming on here, which is they're getting paid over there to not be on their program, but then they're coming on your program for very little money. And I think that has to be stopped, because that 100% of being paid by your employer is down the road about 5 or 6 years ago.